Dr. Henry Loomis, this...
Oh my God.
Fortunately for us...
We don't belong.
It all began 17 years ago, deep in the thick jungle. A helicopter landed on Saint Island, carrying a group of doctors and scientists studying the DNA of various hybrid species. In one frozen chamber, they stored the body of a creature that looked like a gigantic dinosaur. Meanwhile, in another room, two specialists entered to perform a procedure. Suddenly, a containment failure occurred as they tried to shut a hatch. A small piece of debris got jammed, preventing the seal from closing tightly. Alarms blared loudly as everyone scrambled to manually secure the area so the creature inside wouldn't escape. But the doctors who went in to inject some medication didn't make it out in time and were tragically killed by the hybrid dinosaur they had created. Later, we see people painting walls filled with dinosaur illustrations. Time passed, and those old dinosaur exhibits were abandoned. In the city, the news reported an elderly brachiosaurus escaping from its enclosure, causing a massive traffic jam. This massive creature happened to be the last of its kind in all of Europe. This is when we meet Martin Krebs, a representative from Parker Genix Pharmaceutical Engineering, a pharmaceutical company working on new medicine. He meets Zora Bennett and offers her a unique mission, though it comes with legal and ethical risks. Krebs explains they want to collect samples from the three most powerful dinosaurs on Earth to develop a revolutionary heart medicine that could save countless lives. However, these creatures live on islands near the equator, restricted zones banned by all governments. Krebs admits they plan to carry out the mission by hiring civilians. At first, Zora refuses, but after thinking for a moment, she asks how much money they're talking about. Krebs reveals the amount, $10 million. Just the kind of money she needs for a secure future. In the end, Zora agrees. They continue their conversation at a nearly closed museum dedicated to the dinosaur era. There, Krebs introduces Zora to Dr. Henry Loomis, telling him she's the assigned specialist. They explain they need live dinosaurs for research and to develop the heart medication. Their main targets are three species: the ocean-dwelling Mosasaurus, the land-based Titanosaur, and the sky-soaring Quetzalcoatlus. Each of them can live for over 100 years. Krebs and Zora try to convince Henry to join for the sake of science, but he hesitates due to the mission's illegality. Krebs mocks him as a zookeeper who can't even sell tickets anymore, reminding him how empty his park has been lately. Under pressure, Henry finally agrees to join the mission. The story then shifts to Suriname. There, Zora and Krebs meet Duncan to persuade him to join. Duncan is hesitant, afraid his boat might get damaged since he hasn't even finished paying it off. Zora insists he's the best man for the job. Krebs doubles the pay, and Duncan finally agrees. We then meet Bobby Atwater, the security expert in charge of keeping everyone from getting eaten. Bobby joins the expedition. Their first sample target is near the equator. Dr. Henry prepares custom darts filled with DNA vials, only effective at 10 meters. During the trip, Duncan talks about Booker, a teammate who died on a past mission, and opens up about his broken marriage. Zora jokes that both of them are pathetic and says they need to stay alive if they want to claim the fortune waiting for them. Meanwhile, out at sea, a family sails on a small yacht. Ruben calls out to his daughter Isabella and searches for Teresa, the older sibling. Teresa appears with her boyfriend Javier, who's reluctant to steer the boat. Ruben is frustrated, wanting a final family moment before Teresa leaves for New York. Suddenly, Ruben hears a strange noise and realizes they're surrounded by enormous creatures, dinosaurs. He's in disbelief, refusing to accept that these beasts are still alive. Javier is slow to respond when asked to call for help. Eventually, everyone gathers on deck just as a giant sea creature emerges. Javier jumps into the water but manages to climb back on board with the radio. The next morning, Duncan picks up a radio signal from the family, but they're 45 kilometers off course. Bobby suggests letting the Coast Guard handle it, but Zora insists on rescuing them. After saving them, the family tries to describe what attacked them, but Krebs cuts them off, saying the mission must continue. That's when they realize the Mosasaurus is nearby. The team gears up. Zora waits for the creature to get close and fires the dart. After a few mischances, she lands the shot. Blood fills the vial. Success. Back inside the boat, the doctor tells Zora that the drug they're developing from the dinosaur's DNA will only be available to the wealthy. Zora cuts him off, telling him to stop. Just then, predators, the same ones that attacked the family, return. Bobby fights them off but is quickly killed. The Mosasaurus attacks again, forcing the boat to head toward rocky shallows. Ruben tells Teresa to radio for help. Duncan steers toward nearby islands, knowing the Mosasaurus can't swim in shallow waters, though the boat might crash. As the boat hits the rocks, Teresa slips and falls into the sea. Javier dives in to save her. Everyone else jumps into the water except Duncan, who stays on the boat. They all swim to the island. Teresa tells Javier that the people on the boat tried to kill her. Krebs makes it to shore and urges everyone to move inland because amphibious predators may be lurking at the shore. Meanwhile, Nina is attacked by a hidden dinosaur. Ruben, his daughters, and Javier reach a spot with a breathtaking view. Krebs then drops a bombshell. The island is full of genetically engineered dinosaurs because the normal ones got too boring. Each mutant is worth $72 million. They can't just destroy them. Zora reveals she hired a backup extraction team. They'll fly over at sunset on the second day but can only monitor the area for 2 minutes. Landing is too dangerous. The mission now shifts: stay alive until rescue. Meanwhile, the family searches for a way to escape, call for help, and report Krebs for trying to kill Teresa. The remaining team discusses how T-Rexes are gathered in the valley's center, so they need to be cautious. Zora confronts Krebs about what happened to Teresa, but he insists it was an accident. Zora warns him that if she finds out otherwise, he'll pay. Later, the younger girl encounters a small dinosaur, another mutation, but her sister scares it away. Not long after, Ruben thanks Javier for jumping into the ocean to save Teresa. Meanwhile, Krebs heads to the lake to fill his canteen and spots a necklace stuck between some rocks. When he turns around, he comes face to face with the wreckage of a crashed helicopter, the same one seen at the beginning of the story. Meanwhile, Javier scouts the area, convinced they need to follow the underground pipes to reach the island's facilities. While Ruben and his daughters rest, Ruben apologizes to Javier for calling him lazy and again thanks him for saving his daughter. Javier admits he doesn't even understand why Teresa still stays with him. Ruben advises him that no matter what people say, the best way to prove them wrong is through actions, or else those criticisms may become reality. Javier steps away to go to the bathroom. At the same time, the little girl wakes up and finds the tiny mutated dinosaur has returned and is now peacefully sleeping beside them. As Javier relieves himself, he notices a dinosaur sneaking up on him. But just then, a much larger creature swoops in and snatches both dinosaurs away, leaving Javier absolutely terrified. The next day, the team keeps moving. Krebs reminds everyone that while many dinosaurs are herbivores, their predators are not, which means danger is always close. Soon, they begin hearing sounds from all kinds of species and decide to move as quietly as possible. Suddenly, a giant tail swings past them. It's a sign of land-based T-Rexes nearby. As the younger team members scatter for cover, it becomes clear that despite their fearsome appearances, some of these creatures can be surprisingly gentle. Zora prepares a dart to draw a blood sample, and the doctor, excited, steps forward and touches the dinosaur's leg, awed by the experience. Zora successfully takes a sample and they realize the area is populated by several of these creatures. Meanwhile, the family continues their search for the facility. The little girl is still with the tiny dinosaur, whom she names Dolores, and becomes determined to take her home. But their distraction causes them to slip and tumble down a hill. Dolores, sensing danger, runs away. Teresa then spots a boat in the distance and decides to go after it, as her father is too weak to walk. Struggling onward, Teresa comes across the remains of a dead dinosaur, and shortly after, another one appears. But sensing an even bigger predator, it retreats. Teresa then discovers a T-Rex sleeping nearby. Still focused on the boat ahead, she continues forward only to realize in despair that it's not a functioning boat, just a broken and half-buried hull. Desperate, she searches the area and finds an emergency bag. Meanwhile, the little girl tells Dolores that she has to leave her behind for safety. Teresa drags the bag to the edge of the lake and reads the instructions. It must be inflated on solid ground. From across the lake, Ruben yells at her not to inflate it, but Teresa, determined to escape, activates it anyway. The loud noise wakes the sleeping dinosaur. Fortunately, it doesn't notice her immediately and instead wanders off to drink. Seeing her chance, Teresa hauls the raft back to where her family is waiting. With a heavy heart, the little girl says goodbye to Dolores, and everyone boards the raft. But the lake's strong current pulls them toward the area where the T-Rex is lingering. They paddle frantically, but the dinosaur dives underwater and starts chasing them. In one swift move, it flips the raft and sends everyone into the water. The family survives, but when the T-Rex sees they're still alive, it continues its attack and nearly grabs Reuben. Gasping and barely able to speak, he tells everyone to hide among the rocks. Then he realizes his youngest daughter is missing. Frantically searching, he hears Isabella call out. She had been hiding under the overturned raft, afraid because she can't swim. Their screams attract the T-Rex's attention. It spots the little girl and lifts the raft in its jaws. Reuben, thinking his daughter has been eaten, is devastated. But moments later, Isabella resurfaces, swimming toward them. As they regroup, the T-Rex tries again, but the rocks block its path. In frustration, the creature hurls the raft at them before stomping off in fury. Meanwhile, the team reaches the highest rocks on the island, where the Quetzalcoatlus nest is located. They decide it's safer to collect samples from the eggs than to risk capturing an adult. Claire descends first, followed by Zora and Henry. They find the eggs inside a structure that resembles an ancient temple. Henry begins collecting samples and suggests they hand the evidence over to the authorities so everyone can benefit. But Zora disagrees. If they do that, she won't get paid. As they gather the samples, a dinosaur returns to the nest and attacks. Despite their efforts to help, the dinosaur devours Claire right in front of their eyes. They retrieve the sample, and though Henry falls from a great height, he lands in water and survives. Zora quickly descends to help him. The others arrive, relieved to see they're safe. With the sample secured, they now only need to find a way home. Meanwhile, the family calmly drifts toward the old lab facilities. Duncan spots the helipad located on a massive dam, but he can't find the family. Zora finds fresh footprints and starts calling out. Finally, they reunite. Teresa is furious at Krebs. In the heat of the moment, Krebs pulls a gun and orders everyone to stay still and wait for the helicopter. Suddenly, the little girl hears strange noises and asks everyone to be quiet. A generator kicks on, flooding the area with lights and playing a melody. A mutated dinosaur bursts into the scene, forcing everyone to scatter and hide. Some take cover inside a supermarket as the creature continues its rampage. The doctor and Duncan hide in the old lab. Zora and Krebs get trapped under a car and shoot at the mutant to hold it back. Dolores, the tiny dinosaur, finds the group. But another mutant appears and lunges at the little girl, who hides in a fridge. Oddly, the dinosaur sees its reflection and, disgusted, leaves. The group decides to move through the pipes. Duncan and Henry discover tunnels under the island leading to the ocean. From there, they spot the helicopter and cryogenic chambers. Duncan returns to find the others while Henry heads for the chopper. Krebs, holding the samples and vehicle keys, races toward the dock, abandoning Zora. But she gives chase. She sees a dinosaur entering the pipes after the children and follows. Meanwhile, the pilots, not seeing any signals, prepare to leave. But Henry fires a flare just in time. The chopper returns, only to be torn apart by a massive mutant dinosaur. Henry runs to warn the others. The team reunites, except for Krebs. Henry tells them the helicopter was destroyed, and their only hope now is to escape through the tunnel leading to a waiting boat. Krebs barrels ahead in his vehicle, smashing through mutant dinosaurs toward the dock. The kids manage to defeat the dinosaur that invaded the pipes. But they know if Krebs reaches the boat first, he'll leave them behind. They hurry to the exit, only to be blocked by a control panel. The little girl, being the smallest, squeezes through and opens the door. But the giant mutant dinosaur is right there. Bravely, she unlocks the door. Just then, Krebs arrives, distracting the creature with his vehicle. The dinosaur crushes the car, but Krebs crawls out, only to be swallowed whole moments later. Zora retrieves the samples and rushes to the boat with the group. But the little girl freezes, seeing the creature looming. Duncan lights a flare to draw it away, sacrificing himself by diving into the ocean. Zora, heartbroken, prepares the boat and gets everyone aboard. They hesitate, but finally leave. From a distance, they see a flare. Duncan is alive. They rescue him and sail away to freedom. Dolores, somehow, made it with them. As they sail, Henry tells Zora the future of the discovery is in her hands. After thinking it over, she decides the samples should be used for the good of the world. Money, she says, no longer matters. As dolphins leap around them, they exchange hopeful smiles. And that's where the story ends. The film shows how unchecked scientific ambition, like genetically modifying dinosaurs for profit, can spiral out of control. While the intentions may start out noble, ignoring ethical boundaries and safety eventually leads to chaos and death. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next video.